Christmas bark. I made it a few years back, but that video does not tell the whole story.
You see, once I let the chocolate cool down, I noticed that it looked and felt a little inconsistent and floppy, which I'm pretty sure bark, be it tree or chocolate, is not supposed to be floppy.
So how do we make it better? I'm not going to tell you here, it's bad for watch time. Okay, let's begin, and as you can see, it's already different from my old Christmas bark episode. We are using chocolate bars and not chocolate chips. Now, chocolate chip cookies are okay if you want to make ganache or chocolate chip cookies, or a really nice spiced hot cocoa, link up here. But as for melting down and forming into other shapes, you're going to have to use chocolate bars. 2 words, cocoa butter. A lot of chocolate chips aren't technically real chocolate because chocolate chips are made with palm oil and other stabilizers. But in the case of Christmas bark, where you need that nice snap like actual bark, you're going to need cocoa butter, which is only present in chocolate bars. And just like my last attempt at Christmas bark, we're going to be using 3 different types of chocolate: dark, milk, and white. I already took the liberty of chopping these up in advance off screen. And yes, you're going to need quite a bit of chocolate. Thankfully, you can get them pretty affordable at Trader Joe's. They sell big 1-pound chocolate bars for about $9 a pop. Except white chocolate. The ones you see here I got from Aldi, and they ended up costing me about $12 to $15. Not sponsored, by the way. Anyway, grab a knife and get to chopping up our chocolate.
Try saying that 3 times fast.
Alright, once our chocolate chopped up, let's add it to a zip top bag. And listen, we're not going to use the whole thing. We only need about 12 ounces. So add 12 ounces of each chocolate to a metal bowl. No, wait. I take this back. Add most of the 12 ounces to a bowl. As for the rest, put it in an even smaller bowl. Next, we're going to melt the chocolates and we're going to make a double boiler. So, grab a pot, fill it about an inch up with water, bring it to a boil, and hopefully this camera lens won't fog up like it did last time. Okay, once this reaches a boil, reduce the heat down to low. And let's begin melting our chocolate. Keep stirring until the chocolate is 80 to 90% melted. Looks like my toilet bowl after a high fiber diet. Alright, once it's mostly melted, let's take it off the heat. Because what we're going to do is something called temper the chocolate. And that is something I should have done the first time I made bark. And to help us, you're going to need one of these, a handheld probe thermometer. Purchase link in the description. You want the chocolate at a specific temperature. Okay, the melted chocolate needs to be at 113 Fahrenheit before we can continue on to our next step. Okay, now the temper of the chocolate depends on what type of chocolate you're using. For milk chocolate, you want it to be about 113-ish. Here's the other temperatures you're going to need for the other chocolates. If it's a bit over, that's fine. Don't worry too much about it because we're going to cool it down. And this is how we're going to do it. Remember that chocolate I told you to save? It's here, and we're going to add it back into our melted chocolate. This is called seeding. So let's add our reserved chocolate back into our bowl. You see, if you were simply just to melt chocolate, put it in a mold, and let it harden, well, it wouldn't really do a good job hardening. You'd end up with what happened with me. You end up with soft, flexible chocolate instead of that satisfying snap. And that is caused by the cocoa butter crystals. Well, have you ever gotten a chocolate bar, put it in a warm place, you forgot about it, and by the time you remembered and unwrapped it, it resembled some sort of culinary vitiligo? Well, that's what happens when you don't temper chocolate. And that's why the seeding method is what will save your chocolate. Think of it this way. It's kind of like a rock star's rise, then fall, then rise again. It starts out solid enough, but too much crap and it begins to melt down and forget who he was. But then we introduce the seed chocolate to remind it of who it once was. Once he learns and remembers who he truly was, he can get back to what he loves, and he falls in love with his craft yet again. So keep stirring this around until it hits about 86 degrees Fahrenheit. You still got a few chunks of chocolate in here. We can just reheat that up very quickly. Next, grab yourself a baking sheet. Oh, and apologies for using a passive-aggressive parchment paper brand. And top that, you don't even tear well. Okay, our chocolate still needs to cool down, so stir and stir away. Actually, I have a better idea. While this cools, you can use your time to melt the other 2 chocolates. Let me just set this camera to time-lapse mode. Alright, now all of our chocolates are melted. Let's pour them onto our tray. I forgot to hit record on this camera. Here's footage of the 2022 version. Alright, everything's now mixed. Now let's add on our toppings. Let's go with some marshmallows. Some M&Ms, make sure they're the Christmas version. And some mini pretzels. And finally, let's sprinkle on some sprinkles. Now put this in the fridge to harden up. Let it cool and boom, it's good to go. Okay, this is not it. This is stuff I pre-made earlier. I had a really small filming window. Here's what it actually looks like once it cools down.
Okay, here I am in my room, and here's what the actual finished product looks like. One question, will all that tempering we did provide a nice snap? Oh yes, oh yes it, oh yes it can. This has been Chase Cuttin Kitchen. I'm CRJ, making cooking fun, and meaning it this time.